In 22 years at Tyne, I've witnessed the changing landscape and changing workplaces in our region. Let's join Jonathan Morell on Wearside, one of the areas that's undergone dramatic transformation.
We all know this as the home of Sunderland Football Club, the Stadium of Light. Yet it's easy to forget what once stood here. 15 years ago, this was Wearmouth Colliery, and it's something that I remember vividly from my time in Sunderland as a student. I also recall shipbuilding and heavy industry that once took place here on the River Wear.
Whatever claim the Tyne may make to shipbuilding skill, Sunderland folk will remind you that the entire resources of the industry on the Wear are concentrated inside the borough boundaries. Yet nearly a third of the merchant shipping built in Britain during the last war came from Wearside stocks.
This small part of Sunderland really represents what's happened to industry across the northeast. With a few exceptions, mining and shipbuilding have all but disappeared. New industries have come in to take their place. But it's been a change that's been painful, that's divided communities and has transformed the landscape of the northeast forever.
On September the 4th, 1980, the steelworkers of Consett accepted what they'd come to regard as inevitable. At a mass meeting, they voted to end their fight against closure and negotiate instead the best possible compensation for the loss of their jobs.
Looking back now, we feel that it was a political decision to close Consett. Whether we should have supported our argument with some sort of more direct action, taken to the streets, for example, like they did in France, one is only going to reflect on that
now. One by one, bit by bit, the heavy industry that had once employed thousands closed down. Yet there were those who were determined not to lie down and allow their way of life to go without a fight.
This is the outcome of a 4-hour build-up of frustration and fury among miners. Eggs and bread are thrown as Ian McGregor appears. Then the crowd erupts.
Mr. Ian McGregor intends to inflict the same savage butchery on the coal industry that he inflicted upon VL and the British steel industry.
In 1984, Arthur Scargill called a national miners' strike.
We would urge all our members to defend their pit and their jobs.
The violence and bitterness of the dispute split communities. We were there as neighbours, friends, and even families found themselves on opposing sides.
I'll not let my son come to my house, he's working. And it was me who got my son a job because he was on the door. And now he's letting me down by going to work.
Yet amidst the slow decline of mining and shipbuilding, there came some hope.
I declare the second phase of the Metro Centre open.
I don't think there's any doubt the Metro Centre has put the North East on the map.
It's a tremendous feast for you.
Sir John Hall deserves credit because he had great difficulty getting the capital together to launch this project. He hawked himself around the financial institutions, finally got the money and converted what was an ash tip into Europe's largest out-of-town shopping centre.
And there was a sun rising from the east, bringing with it inward investment. On the site of the old Sunderland Airport, Nissan built a new manufacturing plant.
Nissan now will be a major manufacturer of cars within the United Kingdom and a major employer for the North East.
What Nissan had done for Wearside, Samsung promised for Teesside. Microwaves, computer monitors, all sorts of electronic goods will be made here with thousands of new jobs. And in the 21st century, the Tyne region has become synonymous with art and culture, with tourists flocking to the area to see the sights.
Now, if you're looking for drama, passion and excitement, you've come to the right place. Because if there's one thing that unites North East viewers and North East programme makers, it's sport. Let's join Roger Thames.
When Jackie Milburn was playing for Newcastle United 50 years ago, I don't think he could ever have imagined that St James's Park would look like this. Now, if you had to pick one word that summed up North East sport over the last half-century, it would have to be passion. So, let's start with the goal scored here at this ground. It was live on ITV, and every time I see it, it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Play by Gillespie, going down that line. Sergei
chasing after him. The cross coming in, and it's a good one! It's a hat-trick! A hat-trick for Austria! 3-0! Wonderful stuff for Newcastle!
Just look at the faces of those Newcastle fans who have to have suffered a lot of lows to appreciate the genuine high of being 3-0 up against Barcelona in the Champions League. Our coverage of North East football in the last 40-odd years isn't exactly littered with trophies. Middlesbrough won the first in their history last year, beating Bolton to win the Carling Cup. The whole of Teesside seemed to turn out to salute their heroes when they paraded the trophy around the streets of Middlesbrough. If there's one thing our football clubs like, it's a bus trip. The last time Newcastle had a major trophy to show off was way back in 1969, the European Fairs Cup. Perhaps a little too often, our teams have been celebrating promotion. Of course, Hartlepool were delighted to do so in 2003. It was only the third time they'd gone up a division in their history. Tyne has covered 23 North East promotion campaigns. Sunderland just shaded ahead of Borough with 8. They'll be hoping this year's was the last. 1992 was the last time Newcastle had to climb into the top flight, inspired by the charisma and energy of Kevin Keegan. Special K had already turned the club around once as a player a decade before. When the former England captain made his debut in '82, Saturday Night Football was on ITV. Keegan topped the bill. When Keegan returned as manager, ITV Regions were covering the Football League live. What a show United gave us. 4 years later, Middlesbrough said farewell to Ayresome Park, live on Tyne Tees, as Borough surged into football's new world.
Blasting through the men there, and White supporting as well, and still with White, and Hendry! Goal! John Hendry! Hendry's second!
Spare man, I'm making a break on you, Stu.
How the game had changed since Charlton's champions. Behind the scenes look at Borough's record-breaking promotion team of 74. In those days, the manager's wife helped out in the club shop.
Oh, have you seen this lot?
Listen, I'll give you.
In 1974, the film Everyone's a Winner in Gateshead showed how a former chemistry teacher called Brendan Foster was transforming sport on the south side of the Tyne. Brendan joined Gateshead Council and wanted to open their new track with a world record, so he turned to ITV.
Fortunately, Adrian Metcalf, ITV, at the time said, yeah, I'll talk to Tyne Tees and I'll have a chat with them, and I'm sure between us we can do something. So my world record was covered here at Gateshead Stadium by Tyne Tees Television and ITV, and from then the whole thing mushroomed. You know, suddenly the BBC were writing letters to us and they were talking to us. So thanks to Tyne Tees Television, we got our start, and we've always remembered that, Roger.
It's a tremendous feeling. It's what athletics is all about. 7:37.6, the world record to beat. He's got to be inside it. Come on, Brendan, all the way through the tape. He goes through 35 seconds, 7:35. Done it by 2.5 seconds at the least. The last lap around 58 seconds.
Why can't the people of the northeast of England have the very, very best of sport? Like, why can't they have the very best of everything else? When we reflect on 25 years of the Great North Run, if you look at the quayside of Newcastle, the first Great North Run went past, and you look at the quayside now, it's a hugely transformed area. Just take that simple shot of the Tyne Bridge being full of runners streaming across, with the people jumping up and down, cheering and laughing and clapping and screaming. Those pictures are worth millions and millions of pounds to the region because they show the true spirit of the region. The nice thing about this all, it's all been reflected, it's all been carried, it's all been covered by the station that loves the North East.
When Brendan came home from Montreal with an Olympic bronze, it was the beginning of a golden era for North East athletics. Foster from Heaven was a major influence on a young runner from Jarrow who took on and beat the world, Steve Cram.
Cram's done everything he can. He's holding in there. Steve Scott, go for it. Cram gets first, Scott gets second, the Wheater third, Albert fourth, and what a way to run it.
A year later, the region had an Olympic hat-trick, silver for Cram and for Mike McLeod, marathon bronze for Charlie Spedding. Did we realise at the time how special that was? It was to be a 16-year wait till Jonathan Edwards gave the region an Olympic champion to salute. The biggest race Gateshead ever staged was in 1993. Linford Christie and Carl Lewis, head-to-head, a clash of the titans for 10 explosive seconds.
Away this time, and Christie made the best start. Christie leading at the moment, Drummond doing very well through from the United States. Here comes Linford Christie, Lewis the way behind, and Christie, for the moment anyway, is number one.
In 1977, another former Olympic champion had stunned the North East with a visit, because this was Muhammad Ali, surely the most famous sportsman of all times. Boxing's greatest came to help local boys' clubs. He gave a young sports reporter the biggest interview he'll ever get.
Whatever the people are, they're good people. If they call Northeast people, Yardies, Yorkshire, what you call them, Jordies, all these people are beautiful.
Boxing also gave Stanley and County Durham the biggest night out it's ever seen. Tyne Tees were in cruiserweight Glenn McCrory's camp when he became the North East's first world champion.
So the countdown has really begun now, and it's McCrory all the way. He can really afford to take a few chances now and make absolutely sure he's pummeling away with punches right above us on the ropes here. There it is. The crowd know it. Certainly McCrory knows it. And the members walking around head down.
Another world champion for the region landed the most famous kick in rugby history. Newcastle Falcons' Johnny Wilkinson won the World Cup for England in just about the most powerful drama ITV has ever shown.
Johnny Wilkinson, he's got it!
No sport has changed more in the North East than rugby, unless it's cricket, of course. Nobody believed the cricket lovers from Durham when they said the North East would stage a test match. Our programme Durham, a first-class story, chronicled a sporting victory that will never be repeated. Now Durham has county cricket and a new local hero, Steve Harmison from Ashington, one of the world's fastest bowlers.
Congratulations. And what do you remember about that 7 for 12?
Some local heroes take the long route home. Alan Shearer cost a record £15 million to bring back to Newcastle, but gave us the biggest transfer story we've ever reported. The day the legendary Brian Clough broke his leg robbed football of a unique goal scorer, but launched an even more astonishing manager.
It didn't look too serious, and the holiday crowd felt that Clough, who obviously hadn't broken his leg, would be back again within a few games. But this incident was to see the end of a football legend.
And of course, ITV were there the day that Jack and Bobby Charlton became kings of the world. But England's World Cup win wasn't the last dream Wembley was to make come true. In 1973, perhaps the greatest FA Cup final story of them all. The whole of Wearside was at fever pitch as second division Sunderland prepared to take on football's mean machine of the 70s, Leeds United. The inspirational Bob Stokoe had turned the Roker men from strugglers to giant killers. Tyne sent out film crews around the town, just in case the miracle happened.
Deep one again. Watson is right in there. So too is Hallam. And Porterfield! Oh, Porterfield has scored! And Sunderland, the underdogs, are in the lead.
But everyone remembers Stokoe's run and the amazing scenes at the final whistle, described by the incomparable Brian Moore.
Sunderland have done it! Stokoe can't believe it! But Sunderland from the second division!
And only ITV had that famous close-up of Stokoe's run. The other side had their own cameras pointing elsewhere. We're right back to the passion again. The hairs on the back of the neck are up. Don't ever say it's only a game around here.